Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. On 28th of July at 1:55 p.m. Eastern Time, Sun and Moon will come together in their annual meeting in Leo to form a Leo new moon at 5 degree 39 minutes of Leo, which will influence us all for the next 2 weeks all the way till 11th of August. Leo new moon in global events brings focus on governments, leaders, kings, managements, fuel prices, fires, heat, entertainment industry, financial industry, stock market, gold, banking industry, and considering the current aspects, we can expect a wave of over-optimism with Jupiter making a trine with this new moon, but it will be followed by the hard aspect which will bring some shocking reckoning considering the hard aspect from Mars-Uranus-North Node on 10th of August, followed by Saturn opposition on 14th of August. With Mercury carrying the information ahead of physical events, this new moon will bring some pre-warnings and premonitions on those surprises, as well as the need for compromise or adjustments on matters linked to ego, pride, governments and leaders, which in the high of the moment would most likely be ignored, as we might see in global events. I mentioned this in the July or August 2019 as well, when we experienced a similar new moon. This new moon is equivalent to a solar eclipse for United States. We saw the trade war between China and United States initiate in July-August 2019, immediately following the new moon in Leo at similar degrees. Tariffs were announced a day after Leo new moon. As we might observe with this new moon, similar trends could come through, especially because this new moon sits on the 7th house cusp of partnerships for China. We also saw Japan-South Korea trade dispute pick up and US formally withdrawing from INF treaty with Russia. We also unfortunately saw some events of anger, heat and shootings or militant activities picking up following that new moon. Not all aspects are same, but we can see themes unfortunately rhyme from that moment, but we have the opportunity to handle things very differently this time. Hold your hearts, hold your nerves. We are in for a volatile time all the way to August. I will focus more though on what this means for us mere mortals in our individual capacity, what we in our individual capacity can initiate and benefit from by initiating under this new moon. None of this is medical, financial or political advice. I'm going to walk you through what we can do best because there are some very positive aspects as part of this new moon despite the volatility globally that we might face. We will discuss how we individually can initiate something significant, tangible and long-lasting for us that we are passionate about and we can be proud of. My name is Charu. I'm your host on this journey. Let's dig in. Leo moon is warm and hearty with a craving of excitement and fun. It comes with intense burst of energy which helps us make some long-lasting and permanent shifts in our physical world. It brings strong initiations in terms of rulers and heads of governments or leaders. They become bolder under the influence of this new moon and they will take some directional steps. We will also see this in our individual capacity whereby we are given an impetus to feel a bit more brave or courageous to take the reign of our own life in moments of instability or uncertainty. It stimulates our heart chakra, the affections and passions within us which drive us to take a chance on our own unique talents, skills, to a chance in love, to a chance in sports, to a chance in creative endeavors which we would normally not dare to try. Pleasure is sought, and it is sought with a fervor that's not flighty or light. We are pretty serious about this pleasure. We believe in being our own person and the ruler of our own individual domains. And from that place of self-assurance, we take a bold step that we in moments of self-doubt would never take. And this is the moment to dare to do that. Grand is the name of the game, an expression of whatever moves your heart, whether it's love, it's children, it's dancing under the moonlight, or it's spending money or taking a daring step when it comes to your creative choices. Quality is not compromised though. Leo stands for quality. It stands for individuality. It stands for uniqueness, which is maintained under this initiation. There is an element though of suddenness or even surprise to this initiation. As a Leo energy this year, it comes with volatile transit of Mars, Uranus and North Node. There will be restlessness, even a need for speed to initiate something, where we are almost provoked to take a bold step despite the odds. We will find that we would be in a hurry to take this, and with Jupiter right now standing still, we might feel pretty egged on or brave to do it as well, which can make us miss a few steps, which would get highlighted in August with the opposition from Saturn, which will come about mid of August. In this hurried moment, we could benefit from a visit to history. Did you leave a chapter unfinished or incomplete from 2018, like you thought you had it, but you didn't? We have circled this passion, this desire, this initiation in the past, in middle of 2018, and maybe we let it die for reasons which felt beyond our control. But now somehow, as fire fuels fire, with Jupiter in Aries standing still at 8°43' of Aries, it's provoking an intuitive initiation despite the odds we see ahead of ourselves. Whatever you felt unsure of starting only a while ago, it somehow seems more possible and more feasible. Did anything external change, or it just shifted your faith a bit about your own self to initiate? Did it change your perspective that if you take an initiation, if you take a bold step, you could see an outcome which is physical and tangible in nature? If we, despite the odds, are able to heal our ability to initiate, we take that one physical step somehow, what seemed impossible only a minute ago, we might be able to see a tangible change, a tangible result. You did attempt to start this, in my view, in mid of 2018. Maybe you even succeeded at that time, but not in the way you desired. Not in the grand Leo initiation sense. A long-lasting, stimulating, warm, filled with passion and love, maybe even a powerful initial start that you possibly saw in mid of 2018, but maybe not grand in the external manifestation sense. So does now the current moment present to you once again the beginning of mid 2018, but at a much larger scale? So many false starts we have faced. We almost feel tired of hoping sometimes, and we can feel that way about this new initiation. July or August of 2019 is when we had another new moon, which was almost a parallel of this one. We thought we almost had it. How about if we look at those past moments when this initiation was either attempted or presented to us not as false starts, but as smaller steps to a bigger moment. String of events that makes us who we need to become to be able to live what we are trying to achieve. So this initiation of July or August of 2019, which might have felt like this is it. It wasn't it. Was it? For me, it wasn't. Maybe for you, it was different. What if none of it is this is it? You know what I mean? Like we keep on thinking, this is it, this is it. And all of them feel like false initiations of the heart because they do not become to the extent we hoped they will. There is a certain amount of disillusionment with the it. We spend way too much time trying to find life's purpose, and we normally place its validation in the hands of approvals from others instead of moving on true life's purpose, which is living. And Leo moon, which is the significator of life-giving sun itself, it reminds us that nothing is gonna be it. Because each of these moments, each of these many steps, whether it was mid of 2018 or whether it was the July-August of 2019, they are not it. These so-called false starts, they are just a way to reach your own true self, your own heart, and know your own self better and own your own uniqueness instead of following a trend. Knowing what you truly are capable of doing, enjoying, daring, and loving, it's all about trying to find your own limits to some extent. It's tough to think like this with Leo initiations because Leo initiations can feel very long-term and fixed, even permanent in nature. So when it's experimented with, and because Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, we feel that Leo initiations, instead of being fixed, it feels like they are being experimented with. Our passions seem to evolve, change, adjust, have sudden twists and turns in it. In the parts of our life which we like to be fixed, which we want to be permanent in nature, which we feel are permanent in nature, it feels uneasy when those fixed, stable, permanent parts of our life are being experimented with. It feels uneasy. But one thing that 2020 should have taught us is that nothing is permanent. The experience is not going to lead us to a permanent existence. Even this initiation is not going to lead us to a permanent existence. But how this experience would make you feel, that surely will long last. A fixed initiation is no more fixed in its physical form. It's fixed in the way it makes you feel. It brings a weird kind of stability to you despite the volatility of the moment. Sambian symbol shows this degree of Leo as a conservative, old-fashioned lady who's confronted by a hippie girl. We would find our conservative views, our views about stability, surety, to be challenged here, as Uranus in Taurus along with North Node and Mars is going to challenge the Leo planet one by one. The Leo initiations will have twists and turns. So whatever you are initiating, driven by your heart's desire, driven by your passions, driven by the heat of the moment or the fuel of the Jupiter in Aries that is providing to your sense of initiation, you will find that it will get challenged, it will get changed, it will get modified, because the Mars-Uranus-North Node combination, which is volatile in nature, which is a significator of the volatility we are seeing in the global economic events and geopolitical events, it would challenge it, with first Mercury in Leo being challenged on 28th and 29th of July, which is the pre-warning, the premonition that I'm talking about, which will come along with this Leo new moon. New initiation which would need modification and changes and challenges to be confronted soon enough would be shown with this new moon, and we'll see that in global events as well. It will be followed by Sun in Leo being squared, having a hard aspect with Mars, Uranus-North Node on 10th of August. Venus in Leo would be confronted with the same challenge on 24th of August. The new generation, the new initiation conflicts with the old conservative rules, the new economy conflicting with the old restrictions or the burden of the previous generations, and a collective need to rise above what has been fashionable, what has been the traditional way of progressing, what has been the traditional patterns of behavior. It's a degree which invites us to be the trend setter instead of the follower. And we would see some trend setters bucking the current in economic terms especially. Despite the volatility that we might see, they would initiate things which will become the trend setters. It would buck the trend, buck the current in economic, cultural, societal terms by staying true to themselves and going beyond the traditional and conservative means. And we would find that we would be challenged to have this initiation different from the way we did in mid of 2018, and especially in July or August of 2019. We'll be pushed to do this very, very differently. The July or August 2000 initiation was also supported by Jupiter at the time. Jupiter was also in the fire sign at the time, but in Sagittarius at that time. That was all about our self-expression getting a boost from possibly social expansion, meaning we possibly received some external appreciation or received an expansion socially through our product of self-expression being well received. Something that you did driven by your heart, which was in line with what the social network that you were part of required, wanted, or it was well received socially. This time you would find that this initiation is very personal. It's very individual. It is not about anyone else anymore. It's about your expanded sense of self or self-development that you have gone through since 2019, now enriching a product of your self-expression. You would find you letting yourself have fun or express yourself freely, doing what you love to do, would feed back into healing your own identity wound and help you feel more you. It would somehow show you that when you take a brave step, it doesn't matter who sees it, who appreciates it. You within you feel more self-validated because you have not betrayed yourself in that moment. This fire trine, which this new moon forms, considered beneficial in all senses, is a creative release which urges you to find the most natural outlet of external expression of who you are without the struggle of proving yourself to anyone. I would remind you here, no matter which sign you are, and even if Leo sits in your 10th house of career, I am talking to you, Scorpio, Leo initiations have nothing to do with career. It is, it was, and it will forever be always about your will to do what you want and you desire. You can choose your career or profession to be the conduit of doing that, but Leo initiations are not about your life path, which need an external title to stand true or stand validated. Leo initiations are about what you in your heart wish to be, and then manifesting it because it brings you a sense of self and it expresses you. Whenever we would keep waiting to be given a title, to be given the right position, to be given the authority, to be given the appreciation or the external validation for Leo initiations, we would find ourselves standing in disappointment, suppressing a very essential part of ourselves. Leo part of our life is a gift that we have been given, which was given to us without any questions asked, which you and I are expected to use without any questions asked, just to create happiness, just to create a life that is wonderful. We can be dramatic, oddball, proud, upbeat, unusual, energetic, theatrical, entertaining, sometimes arrogant or even egoistic in the expression of this Leo gift, but it's meant to inspire. It's meant to lead people from the heart. It's meant to help people see that some passions are worth living through. It's meant to teach us the courage that lays right beneath the surface within us. It's meant to entertain. It's meant to create the life of one's imagination, even if on the stage. It's meant to help us find our truth through a creative process of expression of this gift we are all uniquely given. So if you could do one thing in the next 2 weeks, when you would feel this undoubtedly excruciating pressure of some sense of stability being lost, follow that gift, that unquestionably gifted thing that you have been given within you, that you are required to unquestionably use. Follow that gift. Be guided by what your individual truth is, because a universal truth will be shaky, will be very volatile. External events, especially economic and geopolitically, will be volatile. You might find yourself standing alone because Sun is not part of a herd. There is just one. So when you find yourself doing the unconventional in the conventional corners of your life, the challenge of self-confidence will present itself to you. But only if you would try, you would know if this is your truth or an acquired truth that you're living. Take your place. The only way to beat your inner demons, the fear of failure, self-doubt, is to keep on going on this journey of finding the it, your true passions in life, the one where you do not have to wait for external titles, external applause, external validation to do things, the ones where heart leads and the head follows. And the head will follow soon enough. That's just life. Because we would be challenged to have a plan, with Saturn creating an external hindrance, which can be a conflict with an authority figure, with an older person, with a parent, with a ruler, with a rule, with an authority, sometimes a criticism by somebody who's more experienced than you, seemingly coming out of nowhere to us, just when we thought we have all the impetus and the confidence to move forward. Come Monday itself, come 31st of July or 1st of August, when Mercury will oppose Saturn, we will already start seeing the restriction, the hindrance, the darkness, the dullness, the opposition. Jupiter in Aries would have gone retrograde, leaving us with a glimpse of what's possible while removing any sign of external progress for the next 4 months. That's what happened when Jupiter goes retrograde, which we would experience towards the end of the month. It will go retrograde with this new moon. But before it goes retrograde, which is, it appears to move backward on the growth channels it has opened for the next 4 months, it would leave us with some gift, with some opening, with some glimpse of possibility that we would be left with, which we'll have to single-handedly pursue for the next 4 months till 23rd of November 2022. Growth externally, when Jupiter is retrograde, it would seem to ebb from now to November of 2022, leaving us with our own inner devices to continue to progress without external signs of any shoots growing. Keep that in mind. So what's the plan? The question comes at the start of August, and yet again a physical impediment. It comes when Sun and Saturn will oppose each other on 14th of August, followed by possibly a question of money and personal life. What personal cost is this initiation coming at on 28th of August? All this while, as we are being egged on by Mars-Uranus-North Node aspect to speed things up, act like there are no boundaries or traditions that exist. But we seemingly cannot, because there is Saturn in Aquarius problem to be resolved, and we will be fully confronted with that on 11th of August with the full moon that is ahead of us in Aquarius, which is a tough one. This is an easier new moon. The tough one is the 11th of August full moon, which is when the limitation will fully show itself to us. Sun-Saturn opposition of 14th of August normally brings to light what structurally needs to change in how we approach the Aquarius significators of our life, which is how we approach groups. How do we need to change how we approach groups, how we approach social platforms, how we approach social influence, how we need to change the very structure of our long-term vision of our life. It will show us some gaps in our vision, but it will also show us what structurally needs to change. What's keeping us away from the accolades, the money, the structural abundance, the popularity, the support or the friendship that we do crave as well from others in our life while we pursue our individual passions? What would help our unique niche ideas become more palatable to larger set of people? And then the question of, do we truly want to go down that road to make our niche ideas popular, or we do not wish that? That question will come up with the 11th of August full moon. The fixed grand cross of 11th of August, which we would feel the most from mid of August all the way till end of August, it will bring this impossible choice, in my view, in front of us, where the survival instincts, in my view, will kick in. So do we fully abandon or resist any kind of change, going back to the well-trodden path, which we know by now is going to be a mistake because we have tried that before and it didn't work? With Uranus in Taurus, the conservatives, the habit-bound, the self-serving part of us is being challenged, it's being pushed, it's being prodded for change through external events that keep hitting us in unexpected manner whenever we try to go back and backtrack and resist the rapid change in fixed corners of our life. I'm right now profusely bleeding into the theme of the full moon instead of focusing on the new moon, because I would like to warn you that what you feel right now so gung-ho and positive to pursue about, considering the fire trine, which is great, would get challenged by these mid-August aspects. And you would already feel it with Mercury, your mind, preconceiving these issues propping up soon enough with this new moon itself. Nothing meaningful happens without its due friction and opposition. This friction is the one to help us make available our gifts in such way that they don't just become the source of self-gratification, but rather they serve a wider, a bigger purpose, which has to be fulfilled under Saturn in Aquarius, which does benefit the real world that we live in. We have spoken about it in detail when we had the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, which happened in December of 2020, because fulfilling the Saturn in Aquarius purpose is the gateway to your abundance for the next 20 years. So you cannot ignore that. It's also to make sure that we do not forget the practical aspects of physical life, which will come into play in the second half of August, namely the money, the assets, the security, all the things we in the heat of the moment might hate to think of, yet we have the equal opportunity to create if we work through this hindrance as an opportunity versus a dead end. Don't look at this hindrance, this opposition as a dead end. It's the friction which will help us deepen the passion and add the practical aspects in it of money, of assets, of securities, all the things that we do also desire. Our inflexibility, our rigid views about essential basic life rules, they would get challenged here. The world about now looks very fixed on one or the other extreme of opinions about everything, where somehow the individual viewpoints, they have become individual truths, each standing very confident, very fixed in their correctness. It surely gives one focus and resilience to pursue something which you and I have been gifted with, along with the tenacity, but we would find it would reflect conflicting agendas. You would find that the mid of August will come up with conflicting agendas, which would require adjustments, which would require balance. And we will see that in the political and the governmental conflicts over security, over resources, over unfair distribution of resources towards mid of August. But before we get lost in that moment, which will present its challenge of balancing the conflicting parts of our life, I would suggest we individually make use of the next 2 weeks. Make use of this beautiful fire trine we are gifted with this new moon to initiate what we know in our drive, in our passion, is the source of our joy. Know that we would need to stay flexible in the execution of it. It's not a dead end. It's a modification. It's a change that we would normally not make if we were not confronted with such a hard aspect. And the days ahead of us would show us that conflict, will show us that opposition, will show us structurally what we need to change in the way we present our talents, our gifts. That would make it more palatable, more available, more usable by somebody who might benefit from it. This is what I have for you today. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you.